On the long-anticipated final episode of Season 1, we're joined by 4 graduates from Hill Murray, leaders who helped guide the Pioneers to the pinnacle of girls high school hockey. And we also welcome back Kelsey King, who's launching a new initiative to help young women make the jump from high school to college. A very timely conversation with a new recruiting season upon us. Well, it took us 4 months to record the final episode, so let's not wait a minute longer. All right, welcome to episode 14, season 1 of the Girls High School Hockey Report podcast. This is an episode that is long time coming. We are in June, and this is supposed to be the final episode, the wrap-up of the season. We got a little bit busy late in February, and we never did it until now, but better late than never, no doubt about it. So I'm in the presence of greatness. As I sit here, in fact, 2 state champions are in front of me here from Hill Murray, Regan Berglund and Josie Skugman. And on the phone with us, Ella Horning and Casey Senden, the 4 seniors that led the Pioneers to their first state title in what? Tell me, how many years? Holding 10 years, says Josie. 10 years. So that's awesome. Congratulations to you, to Hill Murray. Congratulations to Dodge County. I hope you understand how cool it is and what an incredibly great accomplishment it is to win a state tournament. It's not easy to do. Talk to me a little bit about the memories of the state title game. Josie's sister Gwen was driving down 94 from St. Paul to Woodbury just last week. She drove past the X. She was a freshman on the team, and she said, "Dad, that's where we won the state title. I just want to get back and play hockey again." She missed it so much. So what do you remember about it? What's cool about it? I'll start with Regan. You go.
Oh, gosh. I don't even know. I don't remember a lot. It kind of is like a blur, but I mostly just remember like being with my teammates, not necessarily like the goal or anything. I didn't even see it go and everyone just started jumping.
You mean Ella Horning's goal?
Yeah, Ella's goal.
Ella Horning's goal.
I honestly did not see it go and everyone just started celebrating and I went and dogpiled, but I just remember like being there with my teammates at the hotel, walking to Starbucks every day and all that kind of stuff.
So a reminder, 5-4 in double overtime, Hill Murray wins. Ella Horning, who is, again, like I said, here today in greatness with the game-winning goal. Ella, what do you remember?
I feel like I don't remember a whole bunch, man. It's also kind of a blur for me. I mean, same as Regan, like I remember like hanging out with the girls, but I mean, like especially I remember the goal, of course. I just remember like getting tackled. That's pretty much it.
So I remember like the hotel time with the teammates and Starbucks runs, but one thing to me was like even just like first getting on the ice, like the light, like it was super bright inside the X. And another thing was beginning of the first overtime, just everyone in the stands was standing up, cheering. It was just such a surreal moment. Like it didn't feel real. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, the game-winning goal, I just remember my D partner, Addie McClay, getting it at the point and her shooting. And then I literally had the perfect angle to see it go in. And then I look over at Addie, and then I see Ella get tackled in the corner. And then we just ran to Ella. And so that was my favorite part.
8th grader Anna Pohl, not necessarily considered the strongest player yet on the team, picks up Ella in the moment and basically throws her down on the ice.
I think it was the next one on top.
Josie, what do you remember?
I'd say just like the feeling of adrenaline. I was just like, I remember standing on the bench, like looking out on the ice and like I could barely like feel my legs anymore after double OT. Like it was a lot, but yeah, definitely one of the best moments of my life and I'll never forget that feeling.
This podcast, Winnie and I produced this podcast for the first time this season to kind of to chronicle the season, give people a place that they could follow girls high school hockey week to week. And when I think back to middle of the season, December, Hill Murray had been run-timed by Edina. They'd been run-timed about 5 days later against Benilde. it did not look promising for Hill Murray. What did you guys do to turn things around, and how surprised were you to win it all? And I'll start with Josie.
Well, I think as a group, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we did make it to the state championship game last year. So we had high expectations for ourselves, which is not a bad thing at all. But we had so much pressure on ourselves. We just need to like calm down, relax, and like start playing hockey because that's what we love to do. And I think once we kind of gave ourselves a little bit of a break and started just like enjoying ourselves, I think that's when things started to turn around.
Yeah, we kind of, all of our seniors made this like idea that we would put pieces of paper that we would focus on for that practice into a jar, and we'd pick every practice. It was like skate hard to pucks, like block shots, be a good teammate, those kind of stuff. And I think it just helped our team just really focus in on that one thing and just get better at that. So,
Sender, you and Ella, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, both played for Hill Murray as 8th graders. So 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, right? Did you both play as 8th graders?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the journey to get to the state title game, and Regan and Josie both started playing when they were in 9th grade. I know, Regan, you were out with an injury that year, but if you pick it up as freshmen, you lose in double overtime in the section final to Gentry. The next year, when you're sophomores, you kind of get killed by Gentry in the section final. The junior year, you make it Stillwater. You beat Stillwater in the section final, get to the state tournament, go all the way to the state title game, face Edina, lose 2-0. Then you finally get back. How sweet, right? Like, how much does it mean to you guys? How much more do you think it means that you really had to work your butts off for years to get there? And I'll ask Sender first.
I mean, it means everything, right? Like, this is every little girl's dream to not only play at the X, but win a state tournament. And to come so close last year, I think it just makes it so much better. You know what it's like to be so close but not get there. But then it just makes it 10 times better. Like, especially, I mean, I've had my fair share of section finals. And even just winning those is just a big thing. The team really comes together after that, and like, you really are like, we got a chance. And so you just take it and go. And it's so fun to be with the girls, and it's something I'll always remember.
Ella.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Sender, it is like every little girl's dream just to like even like make it as far as like winning the section final. And I feel like my 8th grade year was kind of hard to like watch them go to state my 7th grade year and then lose sadly in the section final my 8th grade year. But I feel like as the years went on, like we grew as a team and eventually ended up winning the section final and winning state.
Yeah, because that year, Ella, right, remind me, did you lose 2-1 to Stillwater in the section final as 8th graders?
Yeah, I think it was just like a 1 point difference in the score.
Yeah. Regan, what do you think in terms of just having to, work to get there? And then I'll bring Gwen up again, Josie's sister, 9th grader, comes in. First year she's playing, she wins the state title, and she's like, "This must be easy, right?" I mean, what's your message to her?
I've actually only played in 3 section finals, so I mean, my sophomore year losing, I didn't really know like how big it was to even win a section final, but that winning it my junior and senior year, the section finals still just as good, but winning the state championship, it's like no other feeling. So I think our junior, I think we were just kind of happy to be there. I don't know. None of us had really experienced it. But senior, I think we were all business. Just we knew what we had to do. So,
yeah, it means a lot more just because our section is not easy at all. We have to play Stillwater, Gentry, Woodbury. Those are all really good teams. So just getting there is an accomplishment in itself. It's definitely not a cakewalk to get there. So making it to the state championship game and having a medal around your neck is definitely something to be proud of.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about next season. You are all on your way to play in college. Congratulations. That is quite the accomplishment in itself. June 15th is looming for those who are sophomores to be, right? Or those who juniors to be. And they're going to start getting calls. Kelsey King, who is one of our most popular guests this season on the podcast, is coming next segment to talk about kind of how girls can successfully transition from high school to college. What's your advice to those who are on the verge of getting inundated, or maybe not inundated, but hoping to get inundated? What's that experience like, and what would your message be to them? I'll start with Regan.
Mine started off kind of slow, actually. I broke my collarbone, so a lot of coaches were kind of like on the fence about that kind of stuff. But my advice would just be like, take it slow, ask a lot of questions, because you have to. Otherwise, you don't really know where you're going if you don't ask questions. Ask the kind of questions of like where they see you playing, and I don't know what the team's like. Just those simple questions mean a lot. So yeah.
All right, send it. Go.
My advice for girls looking and hoping to be recruited would be, like Regan said, do your research. Like whether you want a big school, small school, you want to be close to home, want to be far. Make sure you're asking your coaches questions and be on your own timeline. I think that's important too. Like go on your visits, meet the girls, see how the team is, what it's like. And like being on campus is something that like you can see yourself being there and like picturing yourself there and in class and walking around. I feel like that's important too, because hopefully it's your home for the next 4 years. And I think that's a really cool thing. And so, yeah, just do your research and take your time. And yeah, that would be my advice.
I think my best piece of advice would be like to reach out to like coaches or like a trusted like adult that might not be your parents for advice, because your parents are always going to have like opinions and that might not align with yours in the future. So you have to like do what's best for yourself, and like you are deciding a big piece of your future. So you need to, not listen to parents sometimes.
I disagree with that. Ella, what do you think?
I feel like my biggest advice, of course, would be to ask lots of questions and just to not close any door. Like, I want to stay close to home, but I feel like I decided to like shut out anywhere like super far, and I feel like I regret that just because like what if I really enjoyed the school? So I feel like just don't close the door on something that you don't want. Like just experience it before you say a for sure no.
All awesome advice. So you guys will be on your way playing in college. Again, congratulations to all of you. Let's talk high school season predictions for next year. Not only Hill Murray, can Hill Murray get past Woodbury? That's number one. And then who else do you think's the favorite out there for to win a state title? Sender, you go first.
Well, I gotta have faith in my Pioneers. I think they will make it out of their section. I think it won't be easy. They definitely have to earn it. Nothing's given. Everything's earned. So I think they have a chance actually to do it again. So I mean, I really think they can do it. I really like everyone there, and I think they'll put in the work over the summer, get better. Everyone is like super good friends with everyone, and I think they get along, and the team chemistry will still be there next year, and I think they have a good chance.
I think Benilde, they're good every year. They got to get past Edina, but we did it, so anyone can do it.
I'm going to talk about like the Hill Murray team. So we lost 2D, right? Yeah. Our best D, probably. I think that D, they're going to have to really work hard on like closing people out. Definitely the big, more powerful teams. But on the forward side, like we just lost me and Ella, which two players, I don't know. I mean, really big players, but obviously we still have some very skillful forwards. So I don't know. But favorite, I got to go Benilde too. They're looking really good I think they're going to look good this year.
Ella, what do you think?
I kind of gotta agree with Josie and Regan. I feel like a lot of people are looking at Benilde just with like so many returners and just like who's on their team and everything but I feel like the Pioneers will have a really good shot. I mean, it'll be really hard to get past Woodbury and get out of sections, but I have faith in them.
Yeah.
I have another one to add in.
Yes.
I also think Holy Family would be really good. They've got a good group of seniors, a really good goalie,
Yes.
and they knocked out Tonka this year, so who knows?
Yep.
Yes, they will be good as well.
Yep. I think it'll be Holy Family, Edina, Hill Murray, Benilde, Woodbury. All those five are kind of up there. I think some of the teams that have been strong in the recent past, I think they've lost a lot. So, and I'll leave it at that. But I do think that's kind of the handful that'll be good. All right, are you ready for the final segment, the PK player profile segment, where you get to answer the 5 questions in a speed round? And this, of course, again, usually we have it with one player and we give them 2 minutes to answer all 5 questions. If they successfully answer all 5 in the time allotted, they kill off the PK. But with you guys, I'll give you more time, maybe 4 minutes. 4 minutes, and you have to go in order. So remember this. Should we go in alphabetical order?
By first name or last name?
Well, let's see. What should we do?
Let's go by number.
Let's go by
yeah.
number. All right, let's go
That's
by
me then.
That's number. So that starts with Josie was 6. Horning was
Regan 9.
was 9.
Wait, Casey was 7.
Skugman, Senden, Bergman, Horning. Yeah. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. So 5 questions. You go right after each other. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Here we go. Weirdest pregame superstition you've ever seen?
Oh, Emily Pohl would make someone take a bite out of her granola bar before. One singular bite out of the granola bar. Oh, that was you. That was Regan. Yeah, that was weird.
Senator.
Yeah, I would definitely say the waffle, the honey stinger waffle.
I would say Emily Pohl, but for something different. She would only let me have 1 slice of her cutie, and only 1 slice.
Ella.
I gotta agree with the waffle. The waffle is kind of different. I've never seen that before.
If you had to pick a walk-up song every time you stepped on the ice, what would it be? Josie.
Can you come back to me?
Senator.
Oh, this is a hard one. All the Stars?
Bergen.
By Sizzle?
Band to make her dance.
Ella.
Oh gosh, this is not good. Wondering Why by the Red Clay Sticks.
Back to Josie.
Red Clay Sticks.
Okay, back to Josie.
Dangle, Snipe, and Selly in the locker room.
All right, number 3. Which teammate would 100% forget their skates before a big game?
Gwen Skookman.
Yes.
Gwen.
Gwen Skookman.
Go ahead, Skookman.
Poor Gwen. If you could have any celebrity coach your team for a day, who would it be and why, Josie?
Pass. Oh, I got it. Tate McRae. Yeah, that's a real celebrity. Or Jalen Hurts. That'd be fun.
Senator.
You can edit that out.
Well, this is a hard one too. Connor McDavid. I feel like we could learn a thing or two from him.
I'm gonna say Mitch Marner.
Oh.
I like him.
Ella.
I would agree with Thunder, Connor McDavid.
Last question. What's the funniest chirp you've ever heard on the ice? Josie.
I honestly haven't even heard any. I just kind of keep low on the ice.
Casey.
Regan, you've got a good one. I know you do.
I've heard people chirp certain people about their fake tans. So I gotta say something about a fake tan. Chirp.
Not surprising. Berg.
There's been so many.
Oh, I have one. I've heard something about someone's lashes, like you look like a raccoon with those lashes on or something like that.
They're pretty bad.
Ella, we're skipping Berglund. She can't get it together, which is
The weirdest one
shocking.
was probably when somebody asked me if our ice was refrigerated. That was the oddest chirp I've ever heard. No, I think that was a chirp.
You mean at Polar Arena? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's probably a good chirp. All right, congratulations. Believe it or not, you all four did successfully kill off the PK. It's hard to believe, but you did it. So, all right, well, congratulations once again on winning the state championship. Congratulations on graduating. And I appreciate you all stopping in, taking the time, and good luck next season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we've asked Regan and Josie to hang around for this next segment as we bring back in, we welcome back, I said this earlier, our most popular podcast was episode 7 with Kelsey King from The Mental Edge, and she's back. Welcome back, Kelsey.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
So June 15th is on the horizon, and the Hill Murray graduates just talked about their experiences with June 15th. And, you know, the emotional piece of this, the mental piece of getting prepared for it, this is kind of your next step in your journey to give back to the next generation of players. You are a mental performance coach, but you're also doing something really unique about helping these young women transition from high school to college. Talk a little bit about what it is and why it's so important.
Yeah, so this is something I've been super passionate about. I got into mental skills training with the Mental Edge just this year. It's actually been it's a full year, September, which is really crazy to think about. And May was about the time that I kind of started really diving into things. And this, like I said, it's something I've been super passionate about. And I think that there's not a lot of resources out there for it. And I also think it works really well with mental skills training. So again, knowing the mental side of the game, knowing how important it is, a lot that we talk about is preparation. And I think that for this next step, for this next chapter for these girls, a lot of it, the recruiting process and that phase in life is all about preparation. What are you looking for? Getting to know more things about yourself, not just as a player, but things off the ice as well, what you're passionate about in terms of school. And so I created this as a way of kind of combining mental skills with the recruiting process to support these girls in understanding how to navigate this and that they're not alone in it. And on top of that, something that's super unique that isn't quite yet offered to many people is that I also follow these girls through not just the recruiting process, but prior to their freshman year in college and through their freshman year in college. Because I think what we do a lot of time is we're like, okay, even parents, right? I'm going to help you prepare. Let's get you ready for college. And then they go to college and they're like, Mom, Dad, Coach, what do I do now? Now I'm actually in this environment, right? Now I'm in the belly of the beast. And so a lot of what I do is I not only help these athletes prepare for the recruiting process, but I also help guide them before their freshman year and then entering into their freshman year of college.
So Kelsey, for those who don't know, I'm remiss, I did not kind of introduce her properly, but not only the most popular podcast guest, but Elk River grad, Ohio State, Minnesota State Mankato, we on the under 22, I just can't remember what's the Olympic piece, or the USA Hockey.
So the under 22 collegiate team. And then I played in the rivalry series as well.
Okay. So you heard Josie in the first segment say, it's really important to have someone other than your parents, tell you what to do. And I'm going to ask Josie and Regan both as they sit here, why you're listening to Kelsey and why do you think it would be important to have someone a mentor like her help you through this transition?
For me, I wanted to go far. I wanted to kind of like get out of Minnesota, kind of do something different, because I always knew that I was going to like come back here. My mom, on the other hand, did not really like the sound of that, but ultimately came to like it was my decision. So I think having someone other than your parents, because your parents are always going to want the best for you, but they also have their own ideas for you and what they would want you to do. But I think talking to someone else really helps, like, get your answers and
Mm-hmm. And Josie, what do you think in terms of, like, what are your feelings going? Are you guys, both of you, you're excited, but are you concerned about what college is going to look like and what it's going to be?
A little bit, but I know I have like a good support system. And I am really close to home, so I'm not too scared.
Kelsey, what do you think when you listen to what they're saying in terms of this is exactly kind of what you're trying to help accomplish?
Yeah, I would say what I hear from both of them is that they're very excited, right? They're both very excited. They both have found a place that they can call home right now, a second home to them. And I think everybody's process is unique, right? Josie, you're staying closer to home. Regan, it sounds like you're going further away, right? And so it's different for everybody, but the biggest thing is that it's you, right? That school is you. You're not comparing to other people, because when you fall into that trap, it becomes really hard. Like, you want to know that where you're choosing to go there because it fits you. Not only do those coaches want you, not only do your parents might want you to go there, or they might have their opinions, but the most important part is that you want to go there. I say this all the time. The coaches, they're not just interviewing you are interviewing them, right? And so, again, you girls went through that process, and so you know what that's like firsthand. And again, you're confident about going to your school now because you're like, hey, like, that's what I did. It wasn't just about what these coaches saw in me. It was about what I saw in myself and in this school for me, which I think is the most important.
Talk a little bit about the off-ice support that you'll provide, and what did you experience, right? Because being a Division I athlete is a lot of work and a lot of time, a lot of pressure sometimes. What did you experience, and how do you think your program will help young women off the ice?
Yeah, so I got the joy of going through the recruiting process twice, actually, because I transferred. So as you mentioned, I was at Minnesota State first, and then I transferred to Ohio State. And the biggest thing I would say off ice in terms of how I want to support you is it's a huge transition to go from being in high school to being in college. And what I learned very quickly when I got there was not only did the pace of play increase, but also the workload with school is very different, right? You're not living with your parents anymore. You're living on your own. You have to manage your time in a way that you've never quite had to manage it, because if you're not managing it properly, you're likely losing your energy stores. And both of you, I'm sure, want to have enough energy to be performing at your best on the ice, because that's a huge reason why you're there, not just for school. And so if you can learn, again, my job is to help support you to have the skills so that you can maximize your potential, not just off the ice, but on the ice, and feel like you have the energy to do so.
You reached out to me a couple weeks ago to say, this is what I'm doing now, and how do we promote this, and how do we get it out there? You also talked a little bit about them finding their roles on the team and being okay with it, and being understanding that they're not going to be perfect, and that how do you think you'll help young women really find their roles? And we also talked about the perfectionism that we find in women, maybe more than men. And I said, most guys don't think they have any weaknesses at all. And women tend to be like, I have a bad shot. I'm this, I'm bad. Whereas guys are like, I'm really good. And they're stupid, right? They don't get it. So I can say that. But all of those things, finding your role, who you are, and how you best fit in.
Yeah, so finding the role thing, Andy, we had talked about this, like you mentioned on the phone. The biggest thing is to understand why your school recruited you. and to understand what is your greatest strength. Like I say to my athletes a lot of the time, I'm like, if you were willing to go all in and bet fully on yourself on one particular thing, what would that be? That should be what you're focusing on. And that will help you identify what your role is on the team. So I think that's really, really a big one, is to understand what your strengths are, because you'll really struggle to understand your role if you don't know why you're there, right? Which is based on your strengths. So I think that's kind of the biggest one in terms of answering that question when it comes to your role. I think too, it's just, again, like the type of player that you want to be. I think it's expectations plays a huge factor, because you have to know that your freshman year, it's hard. Like, it is so hard. And we see it time and time again. Speaking of, watching high school hockey, we watch a lot of high school hockey, right? We watch a lot of these players really exceed, and then some go to college their freshman year and we don't hear about them. And people are like, well, what the heck happened? It's not that they fell off the map by any means. It's just that level is such a jump. And so knowing your strengths and doubling down on that instead of looking at your weaknesses is so important in developing and establishing your role on a college team your freshman year.
They're both excited. All these graduates and those going on, they're excited to get there and to get to college. You and I, again, spoke a couple weeks ago. You talked about sort of getting off on the right foot, right, and finding your place. What's your advice to these young women so that they can walk in and make a good first impression?
Yeah, here's a really good one, girls. You have to trade being liked for being respected very early on, because not only, again, we talk about a lot of things on ice and off ice and the role that plays in your success in college, and relationships are different, right? You're in a new team, you're in a new environment, you have a fresh start, you have a chance to make a mark and leave an impact in who you want to be on day one. And so I oftentimes say, don't fall into the trap of just trying to be liked early on. Fall into the trap of doing things, having disciplines in place so that you're respected, because that will create a longer term, especially you girls want to be leaders? Yeah, they're nodding their heads. Yeah, I'm sure you girls want to be leaders, right? And so to be a leader, even if you're a freshman, it's, again, trading being liked for being respected. And that's something that's in my program, too, that I think is really important when I talk about how to prepare these girls for their freshman year in college.
The program itself, give us sort of the overview if somebody were to call and say, Kelsey, I want you to work with my daughter, or a young woman saying, you know what, Kelsey, help me. What are you going to do for them?
Yep, so I have 3 phases. So the first phase is the recruiting process. So the biggest thing I would tell listeners that you're going to get out of that is that they are going to understand the types of questions. So both these girls that were on this podcast before me, they briefly touched on how important questions are. And so I really help you frame questions on 3 key things that I think that every athlete that I've talked to in the recruiting process is looking for. It's culture, it's player development and role discovery, and the last one that's super important is what's it going to be like outside of hockey. So I basically take those 3 main topics that people are looking for, and I create questions to help guide them through the process, as well as talk about who do you want to be, right? Like, what's important to you? Who are you off the ice? What's your greater mission or purpose that you want to see happen within the 4 years of your time there? And kind of some goals and dreams. I think it's super important. When I went into my freshman year at Mankato, I told the coaches straight up, I want to be an Olympian. USA hockey stuff is really important to me. It's important that I want to be developed to be able to play on that stage. And I think that people might shy away from that, but I think it's important to tell these coaches what your dreams are. They need to know those things because they're responsible for your development in a lot of ways. So that's what I kind of do in that beginning phase. And then phase 2 is all about the time from you graduating or you concluding your senior year to the time you prepare to enter into your freshman year. And that's all about going through talking about time management, organizational skills, talking about our BHAG, right, Josie? Big, hairy, ambitious goal. That is what your BHAG is. And in developing that, right, it sets the stage of who you want to show up for or show up as in your freshman year. And then, again, so that's just kind of, again, touches on those things. Finally, once we have prepared you for college, now we enter into your freshman year. So now we start talking about things like, how might my relationship change with my parents? How might that dynamic work, right? How might my dynamic work with a new team? How am I going to, again, establish myself in this environment and get to know these people and them get to know me on a deeper level? And it's kind of my favorite one because I remember what it was like to be a freshman and how kind of scary it was the minute that it got real, that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm here. Like, I have arrived. Like, what do? I want to, like, get the coach's approval. I want to get all of these things, right? And so kind of helping you learn to navigate it in a way that you are confident with and that you start to feel like you can reach those goals that you set and those dreams that you set for yourself.
You said something that caught my attention. College coaches are responsible for your development. How many coaches do you really think out there in this landscape, in this day and age, feel that way? Especially when, if you don't win, you're fired. So, and the transfer portal adds a whole new piece to this. Do you think many coaches really feel that way?
I think so. But I think that, like you mentioned, the goal is to win, right? At the end of the day, it is more of a business when you get to the college level. It's just inevitable. And so I think that that's something that I think I think players, at least from my experience and from my teammates' experience, it's kind of hard. Like, at that level in high school, you might have felt pretty connected to your head coach. It's not necessarily like that in college because, again, their job's on the line. Like, they have to win, right? It's important to them, and they want to be a program that, again, your program becomes established by winning. So a lot of the relationship can feel business-like in some ways. And so it's hard to tell. Sometimes you're like, well, like, you might call your parents and be like, well, coach isn't talking to me. Like, I'm not getting any feedback. Like, what's going on? Like, have they given up on me? No, it's just harder for them. Again, like you said, with the pressures of the transfer portal, the pressures of all of these things now, it's hard for them to make every player feel like they're constantly going out of their way for them to make sure they're doing well and they're succeeding. And again, that's why I seriously think too, programs like this or having another coach or another resource can be really helpful, because it's not necessarily like, it's not the type of relationship that you likely had with your high school coach once you get to college.
Josie and Regan, what you hear from Kelsey, do you think it would be helpful? That's something you would like and need?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I had my first call with Kelsey last week, and it's already been really helpful. And I have, like, a better idea of, like, my goals for the coming summer and the coming fall.
Yes, I would definitely want to look into it because I think it would really benefit me in my incoming year. So.
I think the hardest part is just time management. I mean, just understanding, like, I'm guilty of it. I think a lot of parents are guilty of it. We have organized our children's lives. In fact, Regan, I was talking to your mom, and she's like, there were a couple people who said, Regan's going to struggle. The parents talking, and your mom, Colleen, was like, Regan can do this. She just hasn't had to. So, right. But don't you think that's, I mean, yes, you're all capable of doing it, but just actually making it happen is tough.
Absolutely, because I think the biggest thing about time management, too, when it comes to being in college, is it's energy management, too. I think in high school, it's easier. I mean, we've all done it, right? It's easy. It's not as much. Certain assignments, certain classes don't take as much energy, and you can kind of just get by. But college, it's a lot more energy that's required. And so that can be troublesome, especially when you're like, well, Kelsey, what the heck? I'm just trying to also be a really good athlete. Like, I'm also trying to get to know people. There is just so many more things that are calling your energy to it that makes it more challenging with, again, how you manage your time.
Kelsey King, thanks again for your time. Thanks for coming in. How can people find you and let them know?
Yeah, so I'd say the best way to find me is through Sean Goodsell's website. So the website is www.seangoodsell.com. Another way that you can contact me is just through email. I can ask Andy if we could put the email in the show notes.
Oh, we do have show notes. Thanks to AI. We have show notes.
Woohoo! So I'll have Andy put that website and my email in the show notes, and feel free to reach out and contact me. I have about 6 spots left. Again, another thing I talked to Andy about is I'm a really firm believer in I want this to be super personalized to each player I work with. So I typically try not to go over a certain amount of clients so that I could really make the process special for each athlete that I work with. So that's kind of another little indicator for anyone that might be on the fence. I got like 6 left. So.
All right, I'm sure. Kelsey, thanks again. Thanks for coming in, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Andy. I appreciate it.
Thanks once again to Kelsey King and to Josie Skugman, Regan Berglund, Ella Horning, and Casey Senden for joining us on the final episode of the podcast. Winnie and I have some big things in store, we hope, moving forward for next fall as we try and kick things off. We will give you a sneak peek that it's going to be an expanded, we hope, an expanded version of this podcast. Thanks for listening all season long. Sorry it took us so long to cut the last episode. Thanks, of course, to Cy Dotson from Triumph Pictures for always being here to help us deliver the podcast. For now, I'm Andy Skugman. Thanks for listening to the Girls High School Hockey Report podcast. Hopefully I'll see you around a rink